So, what are like the big takeaways from this trip?
I mean, I don't know if I have like a big takeaway. I had a real good time, and I really remembered how much fun I can have with you guys since I don't usually see you guys all that much anymore. So, big takeaway for me was stay in touch with my boys as much as I can.
I think my big takeaway was that like I can be silly and just be silly, and I don't have to be like super serious all the time. I think that was really good for me.
Yeah, we were real silly this trip.
So, what are like the top 3 things that you are going to remember from Ilamu Harris?
I'm not sure you want me to answer that on camera.
Why not? What do you remember?
I can cut it out.
Well, Josh was being real silly. I'll remember those times. I mean, not like in a bad way or anything. You're just, I'm saving you, Rum. I'm saving you. I'm taking you shore, Rum.
That was pretty fun. That was a great Infinity trip. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's 1. What are your other 2?
Really enjoy the time in the agua with you guys. Just being in the waves and trying to stay above water and having a good time. Like I just really love the ocean. Like you do too, obviously. So, yeah, just like anytime I go anywhere near the ocean, my favorite part is just to have time in the water. So remember that.
And number 3?
I don't know. Come back to it.
I don't remember the place where we stayed because it was super nice. All I can remember driving around on the golf cart. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that. And I'll probably remember the pool and just the massages and going to the ocean. I know that's more than 3 things, but I have a feeling I'm going to remember mostly all of it.
That's good.
Yeah, it was really nice.
I'm going to remember the bumps.
Yeah.
From the golf cart. Bumps. We always had really great food.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I can't believe we forgot that, the food.
And while we stayed somewhere really great, I think the other part of that was that it wasn't just somewhere really great in terms of the inside. It had a great view, and we were able to get able to have exterior space that we could really chill in and have lots of
Yeah.
really good conversations.
Yeah.
I really like that.
Definitely.
That was super nice.
Yeah.
And it was quiet, but it wasn't remote, you know?
Yeah.
There was still stuff to go do.
We were in the quiet part and could easily get to the loud
That's
part.
honestly my favorite way to do it.
Yeah. Top 3 things you'll remember from Cancun, from the mainland.
Going to the ruins, process of trying to go to the ruins, and probably just chilling at the beach.
Yeah, man. Pretty much same for me. Ruins, ocean, and the food.
I think.
Food was really good.
Yeah. I think for me it's like waves, ruins.
Mhm.
True.
They were really cool, but I feel like because I've been on so many like tours of things that I feel like I missed out a little bit because I paid just literally 0 attention to any of the signs. And I was there to look at it and admire how pretty it was and that it was old and then move on with my life, and I kind of wish I'd taken a little bit more time with it, but it was also really hot.
Yeah, it was very hot.
It was way too hot.
I feel like it was hotter here in Cancun than it ever was in Ilamu Harris.
Yeah, you're probably
Feels
right
like
about
that.
Do what?
Feels like that.
Yeah, I bet that's just the wind.
Probably.
Island life, dude. The best life.
So what kind of questions do y'all want the rest of us to answer?
What is one thing that you learned about the other friends on this trip that you didn't know beforehand? And, let's keep it positive things.
Ramir's a grower.
So you can cut this out, right?
Yeah.
What the?
I think, in all seriousness.
Should I ask it again, or can you?
No, you're good.
I think, in all seriousness, that it was really great to learn again from y'all that when shit's hitting the fan, everything can still be fine. You know, like there's a lot more going on. There's a lot bigger picture in play. And when the drone like just exploded practically, the gimbal did anyway, it was like, okay, I can move on from this and be happy and healthy and really enjoy the rest of this trip, despite this not going the way that I wanted it to. And I think that was a big takeaway that I learned from you, not so much about you. That was good.
It's perfect, dude. Things I learned from you. Well, I learned from Josh that I'm being serious, dude. Alright, so I learned from Josh that, I need to, I really admire you always pursuing, what is very important to you and what you're passionate about, and that's photography and video recording and all that stuff and art, and I don't know, like I admire that about you, and it just helped spark in me that, I should probably find like a hobby I'm really interested in. Like, of course I'm in med school and I enjoy it and it's exciting and it's fun, but I feel like I need to have another hobby on the side, and so you kind of inspired me to do that.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah, as far as nothing.
No surprise there.
Just playing. What did I learn from Riley?
I think I learned from you that like sometimes I need to just stick it out because it's gonna be fine in the end.
Stick what out, dude?
Because like I feel like I've quit a couple of things lately, like grad school and Walmart, just because I was like, I really don't like this. This really isn't healthy for me, and I wasn't able to adjust my mentality to be like, this is kind of how life is right now. And I feel like you've done a really good job of saying this is how life is right now, with like the step exams and stuff, and you with work being stressful.
I guess I still didn't answer that yet.
Seems like you already did.
Oh, what was that?
Nothing.
I'm just playing.
Actually,
I'm just playing. Honestly, here's something I learned about from Riley, How do I say this? I learned, not just this trip, but I've always learned from Riley that you gotta sometimes go against the status quo in a way. I know that's like a really cliche thing to say, but not necessarily. I take that back. It's not go against the status quo. That's not what it's about. It is to constantly challenge yourself and say, am I growing, where I'm at, and what I'm doing? And because it's really convenient to be like, oh well, yeah, I'm happy and whatever, I'm doing this and that. But ask yourself, are you reaching your potential? And strive to reach your potential and challenge yourself more and more. Learn that from you too. But yeah, so don't want to go into specifics, but
are you about growing your potential or about showing your potential?
growing. Yeah.
Same.
Actually, Riley asked a really good question that I know he asked it kind of in joking, but to me it was like, whoa, that's like a really good question.
Was I joking?
I think he was joking. Like,
Okay.
Obviously there's a little bit of truth to each joke, right? Or meme, or whatever you want to call it.
Daniel.
Yeah, Daniel, talking to you. But he asked me a very important question that was just like got my attention, and it was, how many percentage, I'm not good at math, let me say that. What percentage of your potential are you fulfilling? And I was like, I don't know, if I had to guess, I'd probably say like 30%. And that's like being generous. So, yeah.
It's funny you said that because my answer to that was like 15%. I felt like I was being generous.
Yeah.
It's funny you say that because that was a joke.
What?
And I was getting in the shower.
True.
About to fulfill 0 of my
Oh my
potential.
god. Yeah. So, good questions, man. Good questions.
That's funny, man. I don't know. Every time I spend time around buds, I learn something new about the kind of thing that those people represent to me. So, with Josh, you've always been a person who I viewed as driven by dreams and driven by aspirations and passions. And that's always been an important lesson for me to look at, because it's not something that necessarily I'm very good at. So like listening to you articulate about the things that you want to achieve in your life and the places that you want to be with what you're doing, and see how you're trying to take those steps. It's not so much that you tell me things that teach me things, but you help me think about things in a new way, and you let me ask you questions about the way that you're approaching things that it helps me kind of get a better insight, or helps those gears click into place a little bit about, okay, I can see how like small steps that you take in your daily life are going to add up to potentially fulfilling a dream that you've got, which is, it's really valuable, and I really think that's cool.
I agree with that.
As for what Ramir taught me, it was...
Sorry.
What Ramir taught me on this trip was that you just need to be able to take a joke.
For real?
Just kidding.
No.
Oh.
Dude, take a joke, man.
Honestly,
I think this time though, like for real, we have tread the line a lot.
Oh, what?
This trip between you and me has been where truly is that line? Because it seems like the first trip we've ever taken where you have just come out of a very stressful situation, I'm in the middle of a very stressful situation, and both of us are like, our normal friendship is fine whenever we're both very relaxed or when only one of us is stressed out. But when both of us are stressed out, who brings the other one down?
True.
And it's usually Josh. But when Josh's drone breaks,
Oh, what?
then
We're
who
all
brings-
screwed.
So this has been a good
I'm
trip.
stressed, you're stressed, Josh's drone broke. I mean, I'm
So
just
I'm
glad
glad.
we're all here alive and healthy, you know?
This has been a trip of learning how to deal with stress in new ways in more adult relationships. This is the aging of our friendship,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? Which is cool. It's interesting to see. I mean, you were joking, I think, earlier. I hope you were. When you were saying, like, we've taken 3 vacations together, you know, like, why do you keep taking vacations with Ma? And that's why I thought it was a joke.
It was a joke, yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, you know what? There are lots of people who just don't. Like, you could go off to med school. I can go off and work. And that's cool. And then people branch out and everybody goes their own ways. But, like, the fact that we are having a friendship that we're keeping alive over many years, despite very different life circumstances, I think is interesting.
Well, and I think
It's valuable.
yeah. Because,
Yeah,
like,
that right.
as you say, I'm a dreamer and I'm really aspirational, and you're really, like, grounded. And so it's like some of those questions that you ask me are like, maybe I should get over my own predisposition against whatever it is that I'm not doing. Or maybe I should try harder with this thing that I feel like I'm trying hard enough with, or whatever, you know. And sometimes just having someone who can ask the questions and will ask the questions is really important, because, like, family can be too hung up with their own ideas, and a partner, as much as valuable as they are, can also be too supportive sometimes in the best way possible. And so I think that's where it's really great to have friends like y'all, where it's like you're not trying to really push, but you can
Just a little
nevertheless,
poke.
yeah, say, okay, maybe rethink that. I also think it's really interesting because a lot of the way that I try to respond to y'all is like with what I think you want to hear, with what I think y'all want to hear, and what you want to hear. And
He was being serious when he said that to me.
and it's really interesting to kind of learn better what each of those things are, because it's like being genuine is important, but also knowing how to communicate is really important with someone, and I feel like I've learned a lot better how to communicate with both of you. I really appreciate that opportunity.
Opportunity died?
Opportunity now.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. There's always the elven truth, right? That you can tell about in communicating with other people. There's what you think. So when somebody asks you a question, you've got, here's what you think. here's probably where you and they align. And then like you've got this middle ground of I can answer the question in a way that like aligns with what you're saying, but also leaves a little bit of my own personal interpretation on things. It's like I'm not going to give you the slice of answer that's only my view, and I'm not going to give you the slice of answer that only placates the opinion, but there's that middle ground of like, yeah, I agree, but I'm going to tease you with I don't agree.
Encourage and challenge at the same time.
I also think, like, most of my life I'm mostly in control of. You know, schedule what I'm going to do, how I'm going to do it, where I'm going to do it, who I'm going to do it with, and kind of being stuck with y'all, if you don't mind me using that phraseology, is like, it's been really good to help me realize, like, it is really important to just be present and not to, and I think that's how I was able to get over the drone eventually, is because, like, what is important, what was important and what still is important is, like, it's not the tool, it's the relationships. And having to live that, I think, was really good for me.
So, if you could change one thing about the trip, or if you come back, what's something you would do different about this past week? And alternatively, I'll say maybe what would you like to do that we didn't get to do? That might be a better way to ask it, because I know you'll never have the same trip twice.
I think I would have rented the car as soon as we got here the first time. I think I would have wanted to have had a location while we were also at Ela, so that, like, I wouldn't have to take all the bags over, because it was, for me, it was really heavy and like really a pain to take everything over.
What do you mean?
And back, like, especially with the drone and just all the camera gear, and I packed literally enough shirts for all three of us, and enough shorts and pants and swim trunks and everything, because I'm a crazy person. Like, if I had been able to just take what I needed as opposed to everything, because I know that I'm gonna always pack everything, but if I could take it over there, just what I needed, I think that would have been a lot easier for me. I think I really liked the time at Elam Harris. Like, I might almost just stick with that next time, because it was, I mean, apart from the, like, ferry ride and when do I actually show up, when should we actually have the car show up, sort of, like, game, it was really nice being over there and just, like, living in that, I guess, flat, because it was really just so serene, but also we had so many opportunities to do really cool things.
All good points.
On the flip side, it might just be like, come to a resort next time for the waves.
Flew away for it. Yeah.
Seems we could have taken a little bit more beach time at East Limited.
Could have, but also,
to have waves.
Well, there just weren't any waves.
Yeah.
Not at the beach we went to.
Yeah.
And I think that's because it was the calmest beach on the island.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think it would be fun to do Chichen Itza or Cenote, because last time I was here, we just literally were at the beach. And I think, and having gone to Tulum, I think it'd be fun to read up on, you know, Chichen Itza on the Maya.
Or like have a guide, which we were gonna do, but unfortunately didn't work out.
Yeah.
What about you?
Like you, I really like these Islamo Mujeres a lot, and I mean, I'm glad that we came here. I mean, I would have regretted it had we not come to Cancun. But if I was to come again a second time, I would probably stay at Isla Mujeres the whole time and get a better golf cart.
Yeah.
One that can reverse.
Yeah.
Maybe a better company.
Yeah, we just kind of got the closest thing, which was fine. It got us where we needed to be, and it was a reasonable price. But it would have been nice to have like a fancy golf car, you know,
or one that like didn't have fuel pump issues.
Yeah. Other than that, I really enjoyed the time in the water, the waves and stuff. But I would think it would have been nice to like do some stuff out in the water away from the shore too, like maybe some snorkeling or going to like the cave rivers or something like that. Just, I really like the water, so I mean that's the only thing I would change, or I would not necessarily change, but next time I would add to what we had done already.
Yeah. it honestly feels like we could have stayed over there the whole time and then come over here for like excursions and just like a day trip or two, you know, and still stayed over there. You know, I think we mentioned before that you and I have taken a couple of trips before this one already, and I feel like the Isla Mujeres experience was a lot more, it was more similar to the trip that we'd taken to Costa Rica, which I felt like was very relaxed and scenic and like more of a lifestyle trip, versus the time over here was more familiar to Puerto Rico, which was a lot more touristy. We went out and did a lot more stuff. We were staying in a hotel, it was busier, like it was a similar environment to this one.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And in my mind, I really enjoy the, like you guys were saying, being able to live in a place and have options to go do stuff, but also having that like home to come back to that's quiet and that's beautiful and it's, you know, you can decompress in, that it has a different vibe. Like you're not a tourist when you're in a place like that, right? You're just another person, which I think is a really, I don't know, it's a really valuable thing for me to find on vacations.
I think kind of going back to that idea of like home base, and maybe just staying at Ila and then excursions on the mainland. I thought when we were at Tulum, I was like, I didn't realize there were hotels right here. Like it would have been really cool to just been able to come up, spend the day, spend the night, and then do Chichen Itza or Cenote or whatever the next day, and back.
And just like pack what we needed.
Yeah. So I think that kind of play off that would be really fun.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So what kind of trip would y'all want to take next time? Like, would it be lifestyle? Would it be touristy? Would it be, you know, somewhere completely new for all of us? Would it be somewhere that's familiar to one of us?
I'm honestly fine with all of those options. I love traveling, so any one of those. I think it'd be neat at some point to go somewhere where like none of us have been. Yeah. And just like free float it, as we say now. So yeah, I think that would be fun. But I guess it just kind of depends when it is that we end up going and what mood and where we're at, all of us, and where we are like in our lives.
Yeah.
I think I would prefer, like, if we're talking a 7-day trip, I would prefer a lifestyle trip for 5 days, and maybe on 2 of the days we go do really touristy things. We go try to cram in a bunch of attractions or museums or wherever the things are that people go to do to those places. But yeah, on balance, I think I really, really enjoy just being able to go to a place and like find restaurants that people around there like to eat at and just see what's walkable from where you're staying and like. So I think there's a lot of value in going to just the same places that people go every day.
For sure.
Well, and I think too, like, taking the time to find those restaurants that local people go to. I mean, Pico de Gallo stands out so strong in my own mind because not only was it exceptionally cheap, it was exceptionally high quality.
Yeah,
like
it really was.
It feels like the quality is way higher when you have people that are actually growing the ingredients on the island, putting them into the food on the island or wherever it is. Like, so much more effort goes into it because it represents them and who they are and where they come from better.
Yeah. Taking lifestyle trips like that, the reason why I have a bias towards them is because it makes your life longer, in a sense that whenever you go on a trip to a different place, if you go to the resort and you stay at the resort for a week, you're still you. You go there with all of your cultural bias from the place that you're raised in, and you're taking this, you know, vacation, right, to go to a place to basically just not do anything for a week. And maybe you like jam pack your trip with a bunch of touristy events, and you go to all these different, you go snorkeling, you go look at pyramids, you go sit out on the beach, you do all this stuff, right? But throughout that process, you're still you in a way that you're not really challenging or bringing attention to the challenge of how do I live my life in a different place. And I feel like whenever you take a lifestyle trip and you go somewhere and you just try to have a routine and maybe you go do some interesting things while you're there, that opens up a lot more possibilities for you to be challenged at unexpected angles, right? Your daily routine, something that is so near and dear to you at home, isn't going to work the same way in the middle of Isla Mujeres as it is waking up in Bentonville or waking up in Fayetteville one morning. You're going to find just fairly benign things are potential questions, like, can I brush my teeth with this drinking water? Like, is it safe? Is it safe to use the tap water, or do I need to go get a bottle of water to brush my teeth? That times 1,000 for all the choices that you make throughout the day, just about how you want to live your life, right? And so I think that it's really important to take those sorts of trips, because then you take your experience and your understanding and you try to transplant it to a new place, and in that process you challenge some of the things that you think are just truisms or that you don't think about in your day-to-day, about where you're going to get food, about what kind of clothes you need to wear, about what kind of protection you need to have outside, whether you need sunscreen or not, or you need bug spray or not, or just those thousands of little decisions that we forget that we're even making throughout the day. It's the ultimate habit breaker, which if the way that you experience time is by the number of new things that your brain gets exposed to, then that's a great way to make your life feel a lot longer. And that's a great way to make yourself become more than just a person from where you are. It's a great way to make yourself a person who really can be from anywhere.
I like it. I think if I were to do this trip again from like a video perspective, I'd want to do it really differently. I'd want to carry different cameras. I'd want to have like a bunch of GoPros to be able to just like slap onto stuff with suction mounts or adhesive mounts or whatever, and just be able to like live the experience more while also getting to be able to do the vlog. I think I'd want to do a daily vlog instead of when I got around to it. I think I'd want to put that extra effort in. I think I'd want to focus more on taking pictures, because on this trip I focused a lot on getting everything that I could on video, and I got a lot of really cool stuff, a lot of great slow motion, a lot of great time lapses, but what I really don't feel like I got was a lot of great pictures. And I got some really good ones, and I got some really great ones of my buds, but I really love photography, and if I'd been able to really go out there and even like set up the tripod in the water and get a long exposure of the shore or whatever, something like that, I think that could have been really, really cool. Just making those opportunities is something I really wish I would have done for myself. And I think on a slightly different subject, I feel like, and kind of bouncing off Riley's point, like if you're coming on these trips, if when you're traveling, you're staying yourself, and all the foreigners you're interacting with are tradespeople or vendors in the street that are trying to get you to buy whatever wares they're selling. Like, I really understand how a lot of people, especially Americans, that can get prejudiced without too much difficulty. I can really understand how people would have a really stilted or jilted idea of what foreigners are and who foreigners are, and I really that kind of also plays off that lifestyle thing, because when you're living a very similar life, obviously without some of the work that a lot of the locals are, you interact with them in different ways, and you have to see them as people. But when you're just saying, no, I don't want whatever you're selling, to everybody you're passing in the street, like, you get a very different idea of who those people as a nation are, in my opinion. And so I'm really glad that we've had a lot of opportunity to live and to not just peremptorily kind of judge. Just throughout our lives with all the travel that we've been able to do. So I would, anybody who's watching this still, I would really challenge you, if you're able to travel, and when you do travel, to think not so much of like those vendors as representative of an entire population, because they're only the front-facing population towards you, the tourist. So, yeah.
Extra mega hard challenge level. I don't know if this got cut out or not, but like I was saying before, if we ever go on trips when we're older, if we're still friends when we're older, which whenever Rumyar becomes a doctor, he probably won't want to be our friend anymore, but I think it'd be a lot of, I say fun, but I think it would be very interesting and difficult to go to a place and live in that place in a certain income bracket for people that are there. So, take Mexico for example, like try to live in Mexico for a week at the poorest income level. Not like homeless, but just above that, like very lower middle class. How do you live on 5,000 pesos for 1 week?
That'd be rough.
Can you do that? And like what sacrifices do you have to make? You just, even bringing clothes with you, whatever, right? But like ultra hard mode for empathy building, I think would be that exact experience of, I'm gonna go somewhere and I'm gonna restrict myself to only having what some people have here, so I can really feel what it feels like to be them.
Yeah.
Which, fun game. I guess you could even try it at home.
Yeah. My parents did with like the average Walmart shopper income. And
Oh,
it's
really?
like $2 a day kind of thing, which is crazy. And that was another thing that got cut out. I hope I'm in frame. That was another thing that got cut out that I said was like going to the supermarket, and that lifestyle shift of going to the supermarket every day to pick up food, to be able to eat lunch or breakfast or dinner or whatever it was, really fundamentally built empathy, because everybody there was from a different walk of life and from a different place almost. Like there were some mainlanders, there were some islanders, there were some people from other continents, and so it was really cool to not realize, but to validate the fact that we're all people through the empathy of like we all need to feed ourselves, which I thought was, anyway, I thought that was worth putting in.